Наконец все вещи были готовы к путешествию.
At length all things were ready for the voyage.
И я ступил на борт корабля.
And I went on board the ship.
Было как раз 8 лет к тому дню.
It was just 8 years to the day.
С тех пор, как я покинул отца и мать.
Since I had left my father and mother.
И мой милый дом в добром старом Йорке.
And my pleasant home in good old York.
Я чувствовал, что делаю глупую вещь.
I felt that I was doing a foolish thing.
Но я не осмеливался сказать это.
But I did not dare to say so.
Ветер был попутный.
The wind was fair.
Паруса были распущены.
The sails were spread.
Вскоре мы были в открытом море.
Soon we were out to sea.
В течение нескольких дней погода была хорошей.
For several days the weather was fine.
Корабль шел быстро по своему курсу.
The ship sped swiftly on her way.
И каждый был счастлив и полон надежд.
And everyone was happy and hopeful.
Затем большой шторм пришел с юго-востока.
Then a great storm came up from the southeast.
Я видел много жутких штормов.
I had seen many fierce storms.
Но никогда столь ужасного, как этот.
But never one so terrible as this.
Мы не могли сделать ничего.
We could do nothing.
Кроме как позволить кораблю идти по ветру.
But let the ship drive before the wind.
День за днем мы были бросаемы волнами.
Day after day we were tossed by the waves.
И день за днем ожидали, корабль потонет.
And day after day we expected the ship to go down.
Шторм становился свирепее и свирепее.
The storm grew fiercer and fiercer.
Люди считали себя погибшими.
The men gave themselves up for lost.
Однако на 12-й день ветер стих.
But on the 12th day the wind went down.
Волны не были такими сильными.
The waves were not so strong.
Мы начали надеяться на жизнь.
We began to hope for our lives.
Рано следующим утром моряк выкрикнул:
Early the next morning a sailor cried out.
Я выбежал из кабины посмотреть.
I ran out of the cabin to look.
Но в тот же самый момент корабль наткнулся на большую песчаную отмель.
But at that very moment the ship struck upon a great bank of sand.
Над которой перекатывалось свирепое море.
Over which the fierce sea was rolling.
Он резко остановился.
He stopped short.
Он не мог двинуться.
He could not move.
Большие волны заливали палубу.
The great waves dashed over her deck.
Все мы были бы смыты за борт.
All of us would have been washed overboard.
Если бы не поспешили обратно в каюту.
If we had not hurried back to the cabin.
Что нам делать?
What shall we do?
Кричали люди.
Cried the men.
Мы ничего не можем сделать.
We can do nothing.
Наше путешествие подошло к концу.
Our voyage is at an end.
И больше нет какой-либо надежды нам остаться в живых.
And there is no longer any hope for our lives.
Может только ждать, пока корабль не разломится на куски.
We can only wait for the ship to break in pieces.
Следуйте за мной.
Follow me.
Во временном затишье шторма
In the lull of the storm.
мы снова ринулись на палубу.
We rushed again to the deck.
Одна из наших лодок все еще была там.
One of our boats was still there.
Мы спустили ее через борт корабля.
We slung her over the ship's side.
И отплыли по дикому морю.
And floated away upon the wild sea.
Никакая лодка не могла выжить в таком море, как то.
No boat could live in such a sea as that.
Мы видели землю впереди нас.
But we saw land ahead of us.
И, возможно, некоторые из нас могут быть выброшены живыми на берег.
And perhaps some of us might be cast alive upon the beach.
Это была единственная надежда.
This was our only hope.
Те неистовые волны,
The raging waves
тащили нас ближе и ближе к побережью.
Carried us nearer and nearer to the shore.
Земля выглядела более устрашающе, чем море.
The The land looked more frightful than the sea.
Затем, совершенно неожиданно,
Then all at once,
огромная волна перевернула лодку.
a huge wave overset the boat.
Мы не имели времени поговорить или подумать.
We had no time to speak or think.
Мы были выброшены в неистовствующее море.
We were thrown out into the raging sea.
Мы были проглочены волнами.
We were swallowed up by the waves.
This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, visit LibriVox.org. Robinson Crusoe written anew for children by James Baldwin. Chapter 5. I Am Shipwrecked. At length all things were ready for the voyage, and I went on board the ship. It was just 8 years to the day since I had left my father and mother and my pleasant home in good old York. I felt that I was doing a foolish thing, but I did not dare to say so. The wind was fair, the sails were spread. Soon we were out to sea. For several days the weather was fine. The ship sped swiftly on her way, and everyone was happy and hopeful. Then a great storm came up from the southeast. I had seen many a fierce storm, but never one so terrible as this. We could do nothing but let the ship drive before the wind. Day after day we were tossed by the waves, and day after day we expected the ship to go down. The storm grew fiercer and fiercer. The men gave themselves up as lost. But on the 12th day the wind went down. The waves were not so strong. We began to hope for our lives. Early the next morning a sailor cried out, "Land! Land!" I ran out of the cabin to look, but at that very moment the ship struck upon a great bank of sand over which the fierce sea was rolling. She stopped short. She could not move. The great waves dashed over her deck. All of us would have been washed overboard if we had not hurried back to the cabin. "What shall we do?" cried the men. "We can do nothing," said the captain. "Our voyage is at an end, and there is no longer any hope for our lives. We can only wait for the ship to break in pieces." "Yes, there is one chance for our lives," cried the mate. "Follow me." In the lull of the storm we rushed again to the deck. One of our boats was still there. We slung her over the ship's side. We jumped aboard of her. We cut her loose and floated away upon the wild sea. No boat could live in such a sea as that. But we saw land ahead of us, and perhaps some of us might be cast alive upon the beach. This was our only hope. The raging waves carried us nearer and nearer to the shore. We could see the breakers dashing upon the great rocks. The land looked more frightful than the sea. Then, all at once, a huge wave overset the boat. We had no time to speak or think. We were thrown out into the raging sea. We were swallowed up by the waves.